Hey guys, so this is what if Daku was Asgardian Part 2. Now guys, this is a video I've been working on. I originally wanted to record this, was it Monday morning? But I fell asleep and now it's like 4:43 in the afternoon, but basically just get into the video. Now, last time I left off pretty much the first couple years Deku's been on Earth, and after Deku would be acquainted or basically would go to Earth with his half Asgardian girlfriend, Ochako in this universe. They would basically, get into UA, and pretty much that day, we said they would have gone back to, the house they lived in, and we could switch back to pretty much Deku going right back to UA the next day. As they go into UA, the pretty much their class day is pretty normal, and so All Might shows up. All Might shows up and pretty much introduces the class and tells them that they're doing quirk training or combat training. As they're all told to do this, we see that they pretty much start to get ready. Now Deku's hero costume is a little bit different. Deku's hero costume will be somewhat like his original hero costume or his original outfit, and pretty much the medieval type of outro My Academia season had. Basically, him having an outfit similar to this. Now, this would be Deku's, normal like street outfit on Asgard, but he would have modernized it, basically giving himself the shoes that pretty much he wore in canon, and also him pretty much doing a little bit of tweaks on his hero costume, basically adding an Asgardian or adding an Asgardian Mjolnir symbol to the back of the vest, and also to top the top shoulder of the vest is being covered up by the hands. Basically, his hands will also be made out of a very an Asgardian metal mush, because he would have gone to Asgard for this hero costume build. And basically him also modifying his sheath to pretty much be able to fit any of his swords he pulls out. Basically him having his pouch right on the back of his outfit. Doing this, he would also have his suit would have basically been semi-fireproof, but would have looked normal. And basically, just rocking the medieval time. Now, basically, later on in the series, when Deku gets his second hero costume, it will be modified and it will become, better. Basically, him getting a better hero costume than original, a little bit more medieval, a little bit more Thor-ish. Let's get into the video. Basically, what happened is pretty much Deku would have pretty much, gone out there, him getting ready for the training, alongside Ochako having a different hero costume as well. She would have put together a wizard outfit, basically looking like, this. Basically, her going to Asgard and grabbing some wizard, pretty much wizard gear from her mother's old stuff and also her father's old stuff. Now, basically, what happened is she would look around, basically taking pretty much a magic staff that her mother had. This staff could project magic and do spells, but it also could shapeshift into a bow and arrow set. Basically, pretty much the top half would have pretty much transformed into about 20 arrows, and basically the other half would have turned into a bow and string, basically being able to, shoot arrows. And also it can transform right back into a magic staff, basically it being two weapons in one. And also in the second half, her suit would have been modernized like Deku, having some pretty much modernized, earth boots, and also a couple gloves. Her also having the Asgardian hat and a couple other things. Her suit mainly being enchanted from Asgardian, stores. She not enchanting it herself, but the suit would have had a type of, of a durability enhancement. Even though she was Asgardian durability, Asgardians could still be injured on Earth with the right amount of tools. But basically what happened is pretty much, she wouldn't gotten ready. What happened doing this, her and Deku would have gotten ready for the quirk training or quirk combat training, and this would happen. Now, basically, the rest of everybody else would be teamed the same, including Deku and Ochako would have been teamed up, just like in canon. And what would happen is pretty much Deku would have gotten ready. Now, doing this, Deku would have gone to pretty much, the matchup with Bakugo and Kirishima, and Deku didn't really have beef with Bakugo since he wouldn't know him and he wouldn't grow up with him. But basically, what happened is that I'm pretty sure I made this universe's Bakugo this universe's Thor, but basically, what happened? They would start to fight. But basically, what happened is Deku would have gone up the stairs, told Ochaku to handle Ida, and pretty much him handling Bakugo since he would, pretty much figure Bakugo would be a type of hothead person, and pretty much he would run up the stairs. Bakugo would have been running down the hallways, him wanting to take out Deku since he would know how strong Deku was since he, pretty much dominated he dominated the quirk assessments during the first day of UA. Now, basically, he would start to run down the pretty much hallways trying to bump into Deku. They would eventually bump into each other, and he would have tried to throw S type of flare towards Deku, and Deku would have dodged it as fast as possible. And as he would get out the way, Deku would have dodged more explosions from Bakugo. Bakugo eventually throwing a good solid right hook right at Deku's face. Deku would have gotten up by this really quickly, him shooting a huge bolt of pretty much magic out of a blade he had, basically shooting Bakugo back, and this blade would have been take out his Mjolnir blade. Basically, he will start to clash with Bakugo. Bakugo dodging most of the attacks, eventually him dodging all of them, and throwing a huge explosion, basically pulling the pins on both of his gauntlets in Deku's belly or on Deku's chest, basically pushing Deku back almost out of the building, Deku using his Mjolnir blade to fly him right back into the building and chuck it right at Bakugo. It would hook on Bakugo's collar, pretty much pinning him to a nearby wall. As Deku would sprint towards Bakugo, he would grab Bakugo by the collar and he would knock him side the head, basically knocking him out. As he would take the Mjolnir blade and pretty much pull it out of Bakugo's collar. As he would fly through the ceilings up to the bottom room, right where Ida was running, Ida's foot would have been cut. No, not cut, but Ida's foot would have been semi-glazed because Deku would have thrown his sword up there, and before the sword went all the way through the ceiling or the floor where Ida was running, Deku would let go of the Mjolnir blade, basically it being a huge hole there, but Ida not knowing what came out of it, and him knowing that the blade could have not made that big of a hole, a human-sized hole. But what happened is Deku would pretty much jump out of the mist or the the rubble smoke or dust, and basically would have socked Ida so hard upside the face that he would have been knocked out. Ochaku saying, "I had that." Basically him saying, "Sorry, I just had to jump in." Him basically running over and grabbing the bomb, and then winning. What would happen is pretty much that will be the end of the combat training. After this would happen, everybody would be, pretty much treated like the MVPs. And basically, they would have pretty much Deku would have had kind of a hard feelings towards Bakugo not really liking Deku. But Deku still would have been very badly injured in the vest region. But since it was fireproof, the suit would have been not that badly injured. Just some of the buttons would be scorched. But basically, also, pretty much, Deku would have had a little bit of a bruise in his stomach, but not enough to actually really hurt him that much. But basically, yeah. So basically, what happened is, Deku would have gone back to pretty much his house after, everything happened with Ochaku. And basically, after that, they would get their way back to the house. As that would happen, we see that they would basically do their thing, and they would do their thing, if you know what I mean. But basically what happened is the next day they go to UA, and I'm gonna leave that for part 3. Now part 3 is gonna be a little bit more complicated because I am gonna be introducing some Avengers villains in the League of Villains, since the Avengers do exist in this universe in America, because Thor is on the Avengers team in America in this My Hero Academia universe. Basically, the Avengers and all the pretty much mainly American Marvel heroes are the number 1 to number 10 and number 15 and number 1600, whatever, pro heroes in America. So yeah, and what would happen is pretty much Deku would have made himself, you know, pretty ready that night. And basically after the, Devil's Hangout with Ochaku, Deku would have been thinking on the top of the roof of the house. Him basically just thinking. As that would happen, he would see a shooting star and he would semi wish for something, him knowing the cultures of humans, and basically pretty much as the shooting star would pass, Deku would think something was off, but he would just let it, pass by his head. But what would happen is a shooting star would have not been a shooting star at all. And would have been a blade similar to this. Basically, it shooting down through the sky and landing on nearby trees. Basically, it decaying the plant life around it slowly, or very fast actually. Basically, killing everything, including just a bunny running past it, and the bunny decaying to a point of dust. Basically, the blade, well, pretty much killing everything around it in a matter of weeks. Like a week could turn into a year without water or sustenance. And basically stuff like that. And basically what happened is we see that Deku would have gone to sleep that night and the blade would start to absorb life force from the decaying things it was decaying near it. But we're going to touch on that in part 4. And eventually it would be a whole entire, I guess, battle royale for the blade, because the blade would have been more of a, let's say, it would have put on a little bit of greed effect on people, making them hurt the loved ones so they try to get the blade in the first place. And slowly the blade would be taking their life force, or the years off of their life, slowly feeding off their life force, making itself stronger until its true master comes to pick it up, the god of. And this is where I'm going to leave off the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and part 3 will be a little bit more, I guess, put together and a lot more longer. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You can like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Deuces.